Inflation. What caused it? What caused the price of goods and services to go up?
Inflation. Everybody's talking about it, but ignoring one of its biggest causes, corporate concentration.
Let me see if I can understand what you're saying. So it's not the government spending more than what they collected in taxes that caused inflation. And it's not the government printing or borrowing money to fund the deficit that caused inflation. And it's not the debt they accumulated. For example, US national debt is 39.29 trillion, or Jamaica 2.4 trillion Jamaica dollar, which I think in US would be 15.2 billion US dollar is causing inflation. So you're saying it's corporation. So if we get rid of corporation, we get rid of inflation.
Everybody's ignoring the deeper structural reason for price increases, the concentration of the American economy into the hands of a very few corporate giants with the power to raise prices. If the market were actually competitive, corporations would keep their prices as low as possible as they competed for customers. Even if some of their costs increased, they would do everything they could to avoid passing those costs on to consumers in the form of higher prices, for fear of losing business to competitors. But that's the opposite of what we're seeing. Corporations are raising prices even as they rake in record profits.
Let me see if I can understand. You are saying we don't have enough competition in the market to force corporations to cut the prices. And because they own the means of production, they are the one pushing up the prices to get a bigger profit margin. Oh, you wicked corporation, God go and punish you.
Corporations are using the excuse of inflation to raise prices and make fatter profits. Take the energy sector. Only a few entities have access to the land and pipelines that control the oil and gas powering most of the world. They took a hit during the pandemic as most people stayed home. But they are more than making up for it now, limiting supply and ratcheting up prices.
Chevron, Exxon have doubled their profits. This isn't about inflation, this is about price gouging.
Or look at consumer goods. In April 2021, Procter & Gamble raised prices on staples like diapers and toilet paper, citing increased costs in raw materials and transportation. But P&G has been making huge profits. After some of its price increases went into effect, it reported an almost 25% profit margin. Looking to buy your diapers elsewhere? Well, good luck. The market is dominated by P&G and Kimberly-Clark, which not entirely coincidentally raised its prices at the same time. Another example, in April 2021, PepsiCo raised prices, blaming higher costs for ingredients, freight, and labor. It then recorded $3 billion in operating profits through September. How did it get away with this without losing customers? Pepsi has only one major competitor, Coca-Cola, which promptly raised its own prices. Coca-Cola recorded $10 billion in revenues in the third quarter of 2021, up 16% from the previous year. Food prices are soaring, but half of that is from meat, which costs 15% more than last year. There are only 4 major meat processing companies in America, which are all raising their prices and enjoying record profits. Get the picture? The underlying problem is not inflation, it's corporate power.
But hold on a second. The paper currency we use to buy these products and services did not come from the corporation, it come from the government. And from what I understand, the government over the years have been increasing the supply of these paper currency.
The Bank of Jamaica intervened in the foreign exchange market with another $30 million US dollar today in order to help stabilize the dollar, which fell to an all-time low of $161.89 yesterday. Although the IMF says it must stop intervening in the market so frequently, the central bank has now drawn down $590 million US dollars from the NIR to prop up the dollar since the start of this year.
So again, they restarted quantitative easing with $700 billion of purchases that they will unleash over the coming months. Not exactly sure what the timing of that looks like. $500 billion of that will be in U.S. Treasuries. $200 billion of that will be in agency mortgage-backed securities.
And if they are increasing the supply of these paper currency, wouldn't that require for us to pay more for the goods and services offered by these corporations based upon the amount of dollars circulating in the market? And from what I understand, these corporations are also increasing their production of goods and services almost every year. Take, for example, Coca-Cola. In 2000, the Coca-Cola company have produced 17.1 billion unit cases of Coca-Cola worldwide. In 2010, 25.5 billion unit cases of Coca-Cola. In 2025, 33.8 billion unit cases of Coca-Cola, which we are calculate to about 2.1 to 2.2 billion servings of Coca-Cola every single day worldwide. So, if these corporations are increasing their production every year based upon the new technology they are using to increase the quantity and quality of the product or service they offer, wouldn't that require for us to pay less based upon the amount of goods and services circulated in the market? Because from what I see or understand, the corporation are fighting against inflation and the government are fighting against deflation. Oh boy, this not sound right at all.